The Deep Space Monitoring Station on Luna Base quietly hummed with activity as technicians went about their daily routines. Dr. Kim, lead xenocommunications specialist, stood before the main display, her brow furrowed in concentration. For the past 3 days, she had barely slept, captivated by anomalous readings that defied explanation. "Director Park, you need to see this," she called, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Director Park crossed the room with quick strides, his weathered face serious. "What have you found?" "A signal, sir. Unlike anything we've ever recorded. It's coming from beyond the Kuiper Belt." Park leaned closer to the screen, the blue light reflecting off his glasses. "Are you certain it's not equipment malfunction?" "I've run full diagnostics twice. This is real." Dr. Kim pulled up additional data streams. "The pattern repeats every 127 seconds, too precise to be natural." Director Park's expression remained neutral, but a muscle twitched in his jaw. In 20 years at Luna Base, they had never detected confirmed signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. False alarms, yes. Excitement over unusual cosmic phenomena, certainly. But this was different. "Keep this quiet for now. I want independent verification before we alert Earth." But keeping secrets in space was nearly impossible. Within 6 hours, 3 other observatories had detected the signal. By the following morning, amateur astronomers with advanced equipment began reporting unusual readings from the same sector of space. The news networks caught wind within 12 hours. On Earth, people gathered around screens in homes, offices, and public squares. Social media exploded with theories ranging from scientific speculation to religious proclamations of end times. Markets fluctuated wildly as investors tried to predict the economic impact of potential first contact. Dr. Kim ignored the chaos. She worked methodically, analyzing the signal structure, searching for patterns that might indicate language. Her small team operated in shifts, ensuring the signal was monitored continuously. On the 5th day, Senior Technician Ba burst into the communications lab. "Doctor, the Deep Space Telescope Network has visual." The team gathered around the main display as the first grainy images appeared. The object was still impossibly distant, but its size could be determined by how it occluded stars behind it. "That can't be right," whispered Technician Ba. "If these measurements are accurate." "It's massive," Dr. Kim confirmed. "Larger than anything humans have ever built, many times larger than our biggest space stations." As the hours passed, better images arrived as more powerful telescopes focused on the object. Its shape became clearer, an elongated form with what appeared to be multiple extending structures. Director Park made the call to Earth governance himself. "This is confirmed. We are observing an artificial structure of non-human origin approaching our solar system." Within hours, observatories across Earth confirmed a massive object decelerating as it approached our solar system. The first clear images stunned everyone who saw them, a vessel of such immense proportions that analysts immediately dubbed it the monster ship. The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session that lasted 36 hours. For the first time in decades, representatives set aside long-standing grievances and power struggles. The footage from the session showed grim-faced diplomats nodding in rare agreement. When the United Nations convened an emergency session, representatives from every nation agreed. Humanity needed to present a unified front. The response team formed quickly, with Director Park leading the scientific division and General Lee commanding military contingents. Back at Luna Base, Dr. Kim received new orders. She would head the communication attempts, trying to establish contact with the approaching vessel. "We're tracking the deceleration," she reported to Director Park after her team settled into their new roles. "At current rates, it will reach Earth orbit in approximately 17 days. "And if it changes course?" Park asked. "Then we'll know more about their intentions," she replied. "But everything suggests deliberate approach. They want to meet us." The military prepared anyway. Satellites were repurposed from observation to defense. Every spacecraft with weapons capability was put on high alert. On Earth, civilians began stockpiling supplies despite government assurances. Dr. Kim worked through the nights, broadcasting carefully designed mathematical sequences that should be recognizable to any technologically advanced species. Simple prime numbers. The value of pi. Basic chemical formulas. For 13 days, there was no response. The monster ship continued its approach, silent except for the strange signal that had first alerted them to its presence. Then, on the 14th day, everything changed. The signal pattern shifted. New sequences appeared, mirroring Dr. Kim's broadcasts but with additions, corrections to the mathematical formulas she had sent, extending them to levels beyond current human understanding. "They're talking to us," she told Director Park, her eyes wide with wonder and fear. "And they're showing us just how much more advanced they are." The monster ship entered the solar system 3 weeks later, a dark mass against the stars, bigger than any human vessel ever built. It passed Neptune's orbit silently, ignoring all attempts at contact from Earth. People around the world watched their screens day and night, waiting for news. 5 advanced probes, the best Earth had built, launched to meet the approaching ship. Each probe carried sensors and cameras to collect data. 3 days later, the first probe reached the outer edge of the monster ship. Dr. Han sat in the data center, watching the readings come in. She rubbed her tired eyes and checked the numbers again. "These readings can't be right," muttered Dr. Han as she reviewed the information. "The outer hull appears to be partially organic." She called her team over. The probe's sensors showed something impossible. The ship's outer surface wasn't just metal or any known material. It seemed alive in some ways, with sections that appeared to grow and change. "Could the sensors be damaged?" asked one technician. "Not all 5 probes," Dr. Han replied. "They're all showing the same thing." The second strange discovery came when the probes mapped the ship's path. Its course adjustment was precise, too precise to be random. The monster ship was heading directly for Earth orbit. When this news reached the public, panic followed. People rushed to stores, buying all the food and supplies they could find. Some fled cities, believing they would be safer in rural areas. Religious groups gathered in the streets, some welcoming the visitors as saviors, others warning of the end times. Military bases around the world went on high alert. Soldiers prepared weapons that most experts admitted would likely be useless against such advanced technology. Politicians made speeches about unity and strength, but fear was visible on their faces. In her lab at the Luna Base Research Facility, Dr. Kim ignored the chaos. For days, she had studied the strange signals from the ship. While others focused on the approaching danger, she believed understanding was their best hope. "There's a pattern here," she insisted, even as others abandoned hope. "We're just not seeing it yet." Her small team worked in shifts, but Dr. Kim barely slept. She stared at the signal data until the numbers and patterns blurred before her eyes. Director Park ordered her to rest, but she refused. "It's not random," she told anyone who would listen. "They're trying to tell us something." On the 5th day, with the monster ship now passing Mars, Dr. Kim finally collapsed at her desk from exhaustion. Her team covered her with a blanket and continued working. The facility grew quiet as night shift began. At exactly 3:47 a.m., Dr. Kim suddenly sat up straight. In her dream, the pattern had shifted, revealing something she hadn't seen while awake. The signal wasn't one message but many, layered together like sheets of music creating harmony. She grabbed her tablet and began entering new analysis parameters. The computer worked quickly, separating the signal into distinct layers. As each layer became clear, Dr. Kim's eyes grew wider. Without stopping to explain to her confused team, she ran through the corridors of the research facility. Her steps echoed in the quiet hallways as she rushed toward the administration section. She didn't bother knocking on Director Park's office door, knowing he would be working late like everyone else. "I know what they're saying," she announced, bursting into Director Park's office without knocking. "And we need to prepare a welcome." Director Park looked up from his desk, his face lined with worry and lack of sleep. Explain. Dr. Kim connected her tablet to the wall screen. Images, numbers, and patterns filled the display. The signal has 7 distinct layers, she explained, pointing to different sections. The first is mathematical, establishing basic concepts. The second is biological, showing amino acid structures. The third shows images, star maps, and reference points. And the others? Park asked, standing now. The fourth is what I just decoded. It's a language primer, teaching us their communication system. Her fingers moved across the screen, bringing up more data. The fifth shows their ship's systems, including how they navigate and power their vessel. What are they telling us with all this? That's in the 6th and 7th layers, Dr. Kim said, her voice now softer. They're refugees, Director. Their home system was destroyed. They'd been traveling for over 100 years, looking for a suitable planet to land. Park stared at the screen, then at Dr. Kim. You're certain of this? She nodded. There's more. They've been watching our broadcasts for decades. They know our languages, our cultures. They chose Earth specifically because they believe we might understand their situation. And what exactly do they want from us? Dr. Kim pulled up the final images, diagrams of the monster ship's interior. They need help. Their life support systems are failing. They have less than a month before critical systems collapse. Director Park sat down heavily. So we're not being invaded? No, Dr. Kim said. We're being asked for sanctuary, and we need to answer quickly. The monster ship entered Earth orbit 7 days after Dr. Kim's breakthrough. Its massive form blocked sunlight to parts of the planet below, creating strange shadow patterns that scientists rushed to study. From the ground, people could see it clearly without telescopes, a dark shape larger than the moon, hanging impossibly in the sky. Earth's governments had agreed to send a first contact team after lengthy debates. Dr. Kim had convinced them that the visitors needed help, not fear. Still, military leaders insisted on precautions. The delegation would include both scientists and security personnel. The team gathered at the lunar launch facility, where a special shuttle waited. Dr. Kim checked her translation device one final time. Director Park reviewed mission protocols with the team. General Lee inspected his sidearm, hoping he wouldn't need it. Remember, Director Park told the 8-person team, we'd represent all of humanity today. The journey to the monster ship took 3 hours. As they approached, the shuttle's pilot gasped. Up close, the vessel's surface rippled with subtle movements, as if breathing. Sections glowed with soft blue light, while others remained dark as space itself. Receiving docking instructions, the pilot announced, surprise in his voice. They're guiding us to an entry point. A section of the ship's outer hull opened like a mouth, revealing a glowing tunnel. The shuttle followed the path, landing gently in a vast chamber bigger than any stadium on Earth. The air was tested and found breathable. The team prepared to exit. Stay together, General Lee ordered. First sign of trouble, we returned to the shuttle. They stepped onto the floor of the monster ship, their footsteps echoing. The chamber appeared empty at first, but as they moved forward, lights activated along pathways. The team followed these glowing trails deeper into the ship. After walking for 10 minutes, they entered a room where the walls seemed alive with moving images, star systems, planets, strange landscapes. Dr. Kim realized they were looking at recordings from hundreds of different worlds. Hello, came a voice from behind them. The team turned quickly. 3 tall figures stood there, their bodies slim and graceful. They had 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like an octopus. Their eyes, 4 of them arranged in a diamond pattern, studied the humans with obvious intelligence. Dr. Kim stepped forward, activating her translation device. We come in peace, representing Earth. The tallest being responded in a musical language that the translator quickly processed. We welcome you. We have waited long to meet beings who would answer our call. General Lee kept his hand near his weapon, but relaxed slightly when the beings made no threatening moves. Director Park introduced each team member formally. "I am called Gil," the tall being said through the translator. "We are caretakers." Gil led them through more corridors until they reached a vast chamber that seemed to stretch for kilometers. The humans stopped, stunned by what they saw. The room contained thousands of large transparent pods, each glowing with internal light. Inside each pod was a different creature, some resembling Earth animals, others completely alien. "What is this place?" asked Director Park. "Our purpose," Gil replied. "Come, I will show you." They followed Gil to a control room overlooking the chamber. Here, displays showed more chambers, hundreds of them, throughout the ship. "We are archivists," explained Gil. "We preserve life from worlds consumed by the void." "What is this void?" asked Director Park. "The end of all things," Gil replied. "A cosmic destroyer that leaves nothing behind. We have traveled for centuries, staying ahead of its path, collecting and preserving species before their worlds fall." Gil activated a large display showing a map of their galaxy, a dark area spread across one section, with stars disappearing at its edges. "The void does not destroy in the way you might imagine," Gil continued. "It changes the fundamental laws of physics in the regions it touches. Matter cannot exist as you know it. Life becomes impossible." Dr. Kim studied the map carefully. "Your home was taken by this." "Yes." Gil's skin darkened to a deep blue. "We were once many billions. Now we are only thousands, the last of our kind, but we made a promise to save what we could." Gil showed them more displays, records of planets about to be consumed by the void. The caretakers would arrive, identify unique species, and collect samples before the world was lost. These stasis pods hold over 12 million different species from 3,000 worlds. Gil explained. "Some are the last of their kind. Others may still exist elsewhere. All are precious." The human team looked at each other, the magnitude of what they were seeing sinking in. Dr. Kim's voice was quiet but firm as she asked, "And now it's coming here, isn't it?" Gil nodded. "Yes, that is why we have come." A heavy silence fell over the room. Director Park stared at the galactic map, watching the simulation of the void spread. According to the projection, it would reach Earth's region of space within 50 years. "Why come to us?" General Lee asked suddenly. "There must be more advanced civilizations that could help you better." "We have visited many worlds," Gil replied. "Most fear us or try to take our technology by force. Others simply refuse to believe the danger. Your people responded differently. You sought to understand before judging. That is rare." Dr. Kim felt a strange mix of pride and terror. Humanity had passed some cosmic test without knowing it, but the price was knowledge of an approaching doom. "Can the void be stopped?" she asked. Gil's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "We do not know. None have found a way. But perhaps together, we might discover what others could not." The United Nations Security Council chamber had never been so full. Representatives from every nation crowded the room, while millions watched the broadcast worldwide. For 2 weeks, since the first contact team returned from the monster ship, emergency meetings had continued day and night. Dr. Kim sat at the main table, tired but determined. She had barely slept since returning to Earth, working to verify everything the caretakers had told them. Beside her, Director Park looked equally exhausted. "This is a trick," declared the representative from Russia, pounding his fist on the table. "They want our resources. There is no void. They invented this threat to make us welcome them." Similar arguments had been repeated for days. Some nations wanted nothing to do with the aliens. Others saw opportunity in their advanced technology. The world was divided, and time was running out. The caretakers had requested an answer within 3 weeks. Dr. Kim stood up when it was her turn to speak. The room quieted immediately. "I understand your fears," she began, her voice calm but firm. "But I've studied the data extensively. The evidence supports their claims. She activated the large screen behind her, showing astronomical measurements and complex calculations. The data from the caretakers confirms it. This void is approaching our galaxy. But we have time, perhaps decades, to prepare. A low murmur spread through the chamber. Dr. Kim continued, displaying more images, these showing technology unlike anything humans had developed. The caretakers have shared some information about their defensive systems, energy production, and faster-than-light travel capabilities. Minister Choi from the Science Division stood up next. A respected physicist before entering politics, his opinion carried weight with many nations. The caretakers have offered us advanced technology in exchange for sanctuary, he explained. Technology that could help us defend ourselves. My team estimates it would advance our scientific progress by at least 200 years. And what do they want in return, besides a place to stay? Asked a skeptical representative from Brazil. No one gives such gifts freely. Director Park stepped forward. After spending more time with the caretakers than anyone except Dr. Kim, he had gained a unique perspective on their intentions. They believe humans possess something unique, a cognitive approach to problem solving they've never encountered in thousands of species. They need our creativity as much as we need their technology. This statement caused another wave of discussion. The Secretary General called for order. Can you explain further, Director Park? She asked. The caretakers are incredibly advanced, but they think differently than we do, Park explained. They excel at preservation and incremental improvement of existing technologies, but they struggle with innovative leaps, the kind humans make regularly. Dr. Kim nodded in agreement. During our time on their ship, they showed particular interest in human art, music, and unconventional scientific theories. They were fascinated by how quickly we connected seemingly unrelated concepts. The Chinese representative spoke next. If we accept their presence, where would these aliens live? They cannot all stay in orbit forever. They don't want to settle on Earth, Dr. Kim clarified. They proposed establishing bases on our Moon and Mars, with smaller research stations in remote Earth locations. Most of their preserved species would remain in stasis until suitable habitats can be created. The debate continued for hours. Security experts worried about military implications. Economic advisors calculated potential benefits and risks. Religious leaders questioned what this meant for humanity's place in the universe. Outside the UN building, people gathered in massive numbers. Some carried signs welcoming the visitors. Others protested against alien invasion. Police worked to keep the peace between opposing groups. On the fifth day of deliberations, a new message arrived from the monster ship. Gil, the lead caretaker, requested permission to address the council directly. After heated debate, permission was granted. Gil appeared on the large screen, his 4 eyes blinking calmly as he spoke through the translator. "We understand your caution," he said. "It is wise to question strangers bearing gifts. But the void is not our invention. It has consumed 37 star systems in the time we have orbited your world. We came to you because we believe together we might find a solution neither of us could discover alone." Gil showed them new data, real-time observations of a distant star system being engulfed by darkness. "We do not ask for your answer today," Jill continued. "But know this. If you reject us, we will respect your decision and depart peacefully. We will continue our mission elsewhere, but the void will still come, whether we are here or not." This sobering statement changed the tone of the discussions. For the next 2 days, the debates became less about fear and more about practical considerations. After 7 days of deliberation, humanity made its choice. The vote was not unanimous, but the majority was clear. They would welcome the caretakers and their preserved species, and together they would prepare for the coming threat. When Dr. Kim transmitted the decision to the monster ship, Gil's response was simple: "Thank you. Together, we begin a new chapter for both our kinds." That night, people around the world looked up at the massive ship in the sky with new eyes, not as a threat, but as an unexpected ally in the face of a greater danger. The integration began slowly. The first caretakers came to Earth 3 months after the agreement was signed. They arrived in small shuttlecraft, landing at special welcome centers built in 12 countries. People lined the streets, some curious, some still afraid, all wanting to see the aliens who had changed humanity's future forever. Dr. Kim supervised the main research center in South Korea. Here, 50 human scientists worked directly with 20 caretakers, learning their language and technology. The first months were difficult. Different ways of thinking led to misunderstandings. Simple tasks took longer than expected. Patience, Dr. Kim reminded her team daily. We're building something that's never existed before. By the end of the first year, results began to show. The caretakers taught humans how to build materials that could repair themselves. Humans showed the caretakers how to think about problems in new ways. Together, they made progress neither could have achieved alone. In the oceans, special habitats rose from the deep waters. These underwater cities housed water-breathing species from the monster ship that could survive in Earth's oceans. Marine biologists worked with caretaker specialists to ensure these new creatures wouldn't harm Earth's ecosystem. Similar projects began in desert regions, in Antarctica, and even in orbit. Each area prepared to receive species that could live there safely. Most of the 12 million preserved species remained in stasis, but a few hundred were carefully awakened each month. The monster ship itself became a center for learning. Thousands of students from Earth visited to study its systems and meet the caretakers. Fear of the monster faded as understanding grew. At a research facility near Mount Fuji, Dr. Moon stood with Director Park, watching humans and caretakers working side by side. They were building a new communication system that would translate between all awakened species. "I never thought I'd see something like this," Dr. Moon remarked. "Look at them. So different, yet working together perfectly." Director Park smiled. "None of us did. We were so busy preparing for conquest or submission that we never considered partnership." Dr. Moon nodded. "The children understand it best. Have you seen the schools? Human children studying alongside young caretakers, neither thinking it strange." The biggest project was the defense system. Using caretaker designs and human improvements, a network of satellites formed around the solar system. These satellites could create an energy field to protect against the void. The work continued day and night, with urgency driving every decision. 3 years passed. The integration deepened. Caretakers joined human communities. Some humans went to live on the monster ship. The once feared vessel was now commonly called the Ark, a name that better reflected its true purpose. In the 4th year, the first human caretaker ships launched toward nearby stars. Their mission? To warn other civilizations and find more allies. Some ships carried stasis pods with preserved species that could be reintroduced to suitable planets. Dr. Kim led one of these missions, traveling to a star system 20 light-years away. Using the caretakers' faster-than-light technology, the journey took only 6 months. They found a world with intelligent life, reptile-like beings, who listened to their warning with great interest. By the 5th year, Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined. New technologies made energy clean and abundant. Medicine advanced rapidly. Hunger became rare as caretaker farming methods increased food production tenfold. But the shadow of the void remained. Telescopes monitored its slow but steady approach toward our galaxy. Scientists estimated they had 30 more years to prepare, perhaps less. Then came the day when the first visible signs appeared. A darkness at the galaxy's edge that seemed to swallow light itself. Astronomers confirmed what the caretakers had warned. The void had arrived earlier than expected. On the observation deck of the new orbital command station, Dr. Kim stood beside Gil. Through the large viewing window, they watched ships from many species joining Earth's growing fleet. Some vessels were built by humans, others by caretakers, and some by recently awakened species from the Ark. When we sent out our distress call across the cosmos, Gil said, his 4 eyes blinking with emotion, We never expected to find allies willing to stand against the void. In all our centuries of archiving, your people are the first to welcome us and choose to fight rather than flee. The defensive shield activated, surrounding the entire solar system with a soft blue glow. It was beautiful to see, the combined work of two civilizations that had once been strangers. Dr. Kim nodded. Perhaps that's our purpose in the universe, not to conquer or submit, but to protect. On Earth below, people looked up at the shield with hope rather than fear. Children who had been born after the monster ship's arrival couldn't imagine a world where humans stood alone in the cosmos. To them, the alliance was natural, the only sensible response to a shared threat. Together, they watched as humanity took its place on the galactic stage, not as victims or conquerors, but as guardians of life itself, united with the very monsters they once feared. As the fleet prepared for its first mission to the edge of the void, Dr. Kim thought about that first signal detected from Luna Base 5 years ago. What had seemed like a potential threat had become humanity's greatest opportunity. The monster ship had not brought destruction but partnership, and with it, a new purpose for Earth. The darkness of the void might be approaching, but humanity would not face it alone. And perhaps together with their new allies, they might find a way not just to survive it, but to defeat it.